Hello all, welcome to the next session on storage area networks. So in this video lecture we'll be discussing about local replication. The topics that we are going to cover in this session is replication terminology. We'll also discuss what are the uses of local replicas, and then we'll be discussing the local replication technologies. In local replication technologies we shall discuss, so there are two categories, that is the host based local replication and storage array based local replication, and also we have the network based local replication. In host based replication we shall discuss LVM based replication and file system snapshot. Under storage array based local replication we will be discussing full volume mirroring, pointer based full volume replication and pointer based virtual replication. Under network based replication we will be discussing continuous data protection, and at the end we will also discuss local replication in virtualized environment, where we shall see what you mean by virtual machine snapshot and virtual machine clone. So I welcome you all to the next session. Let us begin with this video lecture on local replication. Okay. Before proceeding, we need to understand what is replication. We need to answer the question, what is replication? Replication is one of the ways to ensure business continuity. So we have discussed in the previous chapters what do you mean by business continuity. We have defined business continuity. So replication is one of the ways to ensure business continuity, that is ensuring the business operations are going on without any disruptions. Local replication or the replication is a process to create an exact copy of the data. That exact copy is called as a replica. So in replication, it's a process to create an exact copy of the data. Now these replica copies are used for restore and restart operations if the data loss occurs. That is what we are discussing in the backup process, restart and restore. So the replica copies are used for restore and restart operations if the data loss occurs. Replications can be classified into two major categories, that is local replication and remote replication. Local replication refers to replicating data within the same array or within the same data center. Remote replication refers to replicating the data at a remote site. Right? So replica is an exact copy, replication is a process of reproducing the data, and local replication means replicating the data within the same array or within the same data center. So we have the source and we have the replica. So before proceeding, let us try to understand a bit of replication terminologies. First terminology that we have is called as a source. Okay, a source is a host accessing the production data from one or more LUNs on the storage array. It's called as a production host, and these LUNs are known as source LUNs or source devices or source volumes or simply the source. Okay, a host accessing the production data from one or more LUNs on the storage array is called as a production host, and these LUNs are called as the source LUNs or the source devices or the source volumes, or in simple they are generally referred to as the source. Now what is the target? A LUN on which the production data is replicated, it's called as the target LUN or simply the target. It's also called as a replica. The source LUN, we call it as a source, that is the host accessing the production data from one of these LUNs, we call it as a source, and the LUN on which the production data is replicated, we call it as the target LUN or simply the replica or simply the target. There is one more terminology or two more terminologies we need to understand. We call it as PIT or point in time and continuous replica. Let us see what is this point in time and continuous replica. Replicas can either be a point in time or a continuous copy. A point in time replica is an identical image of the source at some specific timestamp. For example, if a replica of a file system is created at 4 p.m. on Monday, this replica is a Monday 4 p.m. PIT copy. On the other hand, the continuous replica is in sync with the production data at all the times. There are two types of replica. We have point in time copy, that is a PIT, and continuous replica. The point in time replica is an identical image of the source at a specific timestamp. whereas continuous replica is in sync with the production data at all the times. There is no particular timestamp for continuous replica. Let us discuss two more terminologies, that is recoverability and restartability. Recoverability enables restoration of data from the replicas to the source if the data loss or corruption occurs, whereas restartability enables restarting business operations using the replicas. So I'll repeat, recoverability enables restoration of the data from the replicas to the source if the data loss or corruption occurs. So if data loss or corruption occurs, recoverability enables restoration of the data from the replicas to the source, whereas restartability enables restarting the business operations using the replicas. The replica must be consistent with the source so that it is usable for both recovery and restart operations. Replica consistency is detailed in the next topics. Whatever in the next slides, we are going to understand what do you mean by the replica consistencies. So just remember, recoverability enables restoration of the data from the replicas to the source if the data loss or the corruption occurs, whereas restartability enables restarting the business operations using the replicas. Now let us see what are the possible uses of local replicas. The first use of local replicas is alternate source for backup. See, under normal backup operations, data is read from the production volumes or the source LUNs and returned to the backup device. This places an additional burden on the production infrastructure because production LUNs are simultaneously involved in production. So, on the normal backup operation, the data is read from the production volumes and returned to the backup device. This places additional burden on the production infrastructure because production LUNs are simultaneously involved in production operations and servicing data for backup operations. The local replica contains the exact point-in-time copy of the source data and therefore can be used as a source to perform the backup operations. This elevates the backup IO workload on the production volumes. Another benefit of using local replicas for backup is that it reduces the backup window to 0. So one major use of local replica is it acts as alternate source for backup. It acts as an alternative for doing the backup on production volume. Okay. The next use is fast recovery. If the data loss or data corruption occurs on the source, a local replica might be used to recover the lost or the corrupted data. If a complete failure of the source occurs, some replication solutions enable a replica to be used to restore data onto a different set of source devices, or production can be restarted on the replica. In either case, this method provides faster recovery and minimal recovery time objective compared to traditional recovery from the tape backups. In many instances, business operations can be restarted using the source device before the data is completely copied from the replica. That is the fast recovery, one more benefit. The third possible use of local replica is decision support. Decision support activities such as reporting or data warehousing. Running reports using the data on the replicas greatly reduces the IO burden placed on the production device. Local replicas are also used for data warehousing applications. The data warehouse applications may be populated by the data on the replica and thus avoid the impact on production environment. The next possible use of local replica is testing platform. Local replicas are also used for testing new applications or upgrades. For example, an organization may use the replica to test the production application upgrade. If the test is successful, the upgrade may be implemented on the production environment. And the last possible use of local replica is data migration. Another use for the local replica is data migration. Data migrations are performed for various reasons, such as migrating from a smaller capacity LUN to one of the larger capacity for a new versions of the application. So these are some of the possible uses of local replicas. It acts as an alternate source for backup. It is used for faster recovery. It's used in decision support system. It acts as a testing platform, and it also is used for data migration. Let us briefly understand what are the replication considerations. So it depends upon the type of replica that we want to have. The choice of replica type back onto the recovery point objective. As we discussed in the previous slides, there are two types of replicas possible. It can be a point in time replica, or it can be a continuous replica. So point in time copy offers non-zero RPO, whereas continuous replica, it offers near zero, almost zero recovery point objective. That is, the data will always be in sync with the production volume. So we need to ask a question: what makes a good replica? So it depends on three things, that is the recoverability, restartability, and the consistency. Replica should be able to restore data on the source device. Restart business operations from the replica should be possible. And consistency, so ensuring consistency is a primary requirement for all the replication technologies. These are all the replication considerations. So understanding consistency, let us try to understand what is consistency. So ensure data buffered in the host is properly captured on the disk when the replica is created. So data is buffered in the host before returning to the disk. So consistency is required to ensure the usability of replica. Consistency can be achieved in various ways. For file systems, we can unmount the file system for offline consistency, or in online we can use flushing of the host buffers. For database consistencies, again, for offline we can shut down the database, and for online consistency we can go for database in hot backup mode. So we have something called as dependent write IO principle and holding IOs. So just understand that consistency is required to ensure the usability of the replica. So without consistency, the data which is replicated may not be of any use. Okay, now let us jump to the local replication technologies. Students, remember there are three types of local replication technologies, although we have mentioned only two here. We have the host based local replication, we have the storage array based local replication, and we also have network based local replication. There are three types of local replication technologies: host based local replication, storage array based local replication, and there's one more thing, that is the network based local replication. Under host based local replication, we have LVM based replication and file system snapshot. Under storage array based local replication, we have full volume mirroring, pointer based full volume replication, and pointer based virtual replication. In network based replication, we have something called as continuous data protection. Let us first begin with host based local replication. Under that, LVM based replication. The LVM based replication, that is the logical volume manager based replication. So here the logical volume manager is responsible for creating and controlling the host level logical volumes. And LVM has three components. It is having the physical volumes, that is the physical disk. It is having the volume groups and the logical volumes. The volume group is created by grouping one or more physical volumes, as shown in this particular diagram. Logical volumes are created within a given volume group. A volume group can have multiple logical volumes. In LVM based replication, each logical block in a logical volume is mapped to two physical blocks on two different physical volumes, as it is shown in this particular diagram. So in LVM based replication, each logical block on a logical volume is mapped to two physical blocks on two different physical volumes, as it is shown here. An application write to a logical volume is returned to two physical volumes by the LVM device driver. This is known as LVM mirroring. So mirrors can be split and the data contained therein can be independently accessed. So we have two mirrored copies of the data that is returned to one logical volume, and the mirrored copies are stored on the physical volumes. Right? So for every write on the logical volume, it constitutes to two writes on the physical volumes. Let us understand the advantages before moving to the disadvantages. What is the advantage of LVM based local replication? The advantage of LVM based local replication technology is that it is not dependent on a vendor specific storage system. So that is the major advantage, that is LVM based local replication technology is not dependent on a vendor specific storage system. So typically LVM is a part of an operating system and no additional license is required to deploy LVM mirroring. So that is the advantage. Now let us also look at the limitations of the LVM based local replication. Every write by an application translates into two writes on the disk, and thus an additional burden is placed on the host CPU. This can degrade application performance. Presenting an LVM based local replica to another host is usually not possible because the replica will still be part of the volume group, which is usually accessed by one host at any given time. Tracking changes to the mirrors and performing incremental resynchronization operations is also a challenge because all LVMs do not support incremental resynchronization. If the devices are already protected by some level of RAID on the array, then additional protection that the LVM mirroring provides is unnecessary. This solution does not scale to provide replicas of federated databases and applications. Both the replica and the source are stored within the same volume group. Therefore, the replica might become unavailable if there is an error in the volume group. If the server fails, both the source and the replica are unavailable until the server is brought back online. So these are the limitations of LVM based replication. That is, LVM based replicas add overheads on the host CPUs because each write is translated into two writes on the disk. It can degrade the application performance. Also, if the host volumes are already storage array LUNs, then the added redundancy provided by the LVM mirroring is unnecessary. The devices will have some RAID protection already. Also, both replica and source are stored within the same volume group. Replica cannot be accessed by the another host. If the server fails, both the source and replica would be unavailable. And lastly, keeping track of the changes on the mirrors is a huge challenge. So these are the limitations of LVM based local replication. Now let us proceed to the next type of host based storage replication, that is called as a file system snapshot. A file system snapshot is a pointer based replica that requires a fraction of the space used by the production file system. This snapshot can be implemented by either file system or by LVM, that is a logical volume manager. It uses a copy on first write principle, or we call it as COFW principle, to create the snapshots. So when a snapshot is created, a bitmap and a block map are created in the metadata of the snap file system. The bitmap is used to keep track of the blocks that are changed on the production file system after the snap creation. The block map is used to create the exact address from which the data is used to be read when the data is accessed from the snap file system. Immediately after the creation of the file system snapshot, all reads from the snapshot are actually served by the reading production file system. In copy on first write mechanism, if a write IO is issued to the production file system for the first time after the creation of a snapshot, the input output is held and the original data of production file system corresponding to that location is moved to the snap file system. Then the data is allowed to the production file system. The bitmap and block map are updated accordingly. Subsequent writes to the same location do not initiate the copy and first write activity. To read from the snap file system, the bitmap is consulted. If the bit is 0, then the read is directed to the production file system. If the bit is 1, then the block address is obtained from the block map and the data is read from that address on the snap file system. So this figure illustrates the write operations on the production file system. So we have the production file system and we have the snap file system. So for example, a write data C occurs on block 3 at the production file system, which currently holds the lowercase c. The snapshot application holds the IO to the production file system and first copies the old C to an available data block onto the snap file system. The bitmap and block map values for the block 3 in the production file system are changed in the snap file metadata. The bitmap of block 3 is changed to 1, indicating that this block has changed on the production file system. The block map of 3 is changed and indicates the block number where the data is written in the snap file system. In this case, the block is 2. After this is done, the IOs in the production file systems are allowed to complete. Any subsequent writes to block 3 on the production file system occur as normal and it does not initiate copy on first write operation. Similarly, if an IO is issued to block 4 on the production file system to change the value of the data from lowercase d to uppercase D, the snapshot application holds the IO to the production file system and copies the old data to an available data block on the snap file system. Then it changes the bitmap of block 4 to 1, indicating that the data block has changed on the production file system. If the block map for block 4 indicates the block number, the block map of block 4 indicates the block number where the data can be found on the snap file system. In this case, the data block 1 on the file system is used. After this is done, the IO on the production file system is allowed to complete. So this is an example for reads from the snap file system. Again, so we need to consult the bitmap. If 0, then redirect read to the production file system. If 1, then go to the block map, get the block address and read the data from the address. So this is what is happening. We are going to read the data from block 1 and then we read the data from block 0. Now for reading the data from block 3, we find that the bitmap value is non-zero. So we find that the bitmap is 1. So we need to go back to the block map to get the data, to get the block address and read the address from that particular address. Similarly, the same holds true for block 4 as well. So that is the two types of storage array based local replication. The host based storage replication. There are two types. We just discussed LVM based local replication and file system snapshots. Now let us proceed to storage array based local replication. So storage array based local replication. So in this, the array operating environment performs the local replication process. The host resources such as the CPU and memory are not used in the replication process. Consequently, the host is not burdened by the replication operations. Here the server is not burdened by the replication operations because the replication occurs at the storage array and not at the servers. Hence, the host, CPU and the memory are not burdened. The replica can be accessed by an alternative host for business operations. As we have in this diagram, we have the production server and the business continuity server. The business continuity server can access the replica present on the storage array for performing the business operation. In storage array based local replication, the required number of replica devices should be selected on the same array and then should be replicated between the source replica pairs. The source and the replica should reside within the same storage array in this storage array based local replications. Storage array based local replication is commonly implemented in three ways as it is listed here. We have full volume mirroring, we also have pointer based full volume replication and pointer based virtual replication. Let us first see what is this pointer based full volume, or let us first discuss full volume mirroring. In full volume mirroring, the target is attached to the source and established as a mirror of the source as it is shown in this particular diagram. The target is attached to the source and established as a mirror of the source. The data on the source is copied to the target. New updates to the source are also updated on the target. After all the data is copied and both the source and target contain the identical data, the target can be considered as the mirror or the mirror of the source. While the target is attached to the source, it remains unavailable to any other host. However, the production host continues to access the source. After the resynchronization is complete, or after the synchronization is complete, the target can be detached from the source and made available for the business operations. After synchronization is complete, the target can be detached from the source and made available to the business operations. So this diagram shows full volume mirroring when the target is attached. Okay. So we also have an example where the target is detached. Both the source and the target can be accessed for read and write operations by the production and community business continuity host respectively. After declaring or detaching from the source, the target becomes a point in time copy of the source. A point in time of a replica is determined by the time at when the target is detached from the source. For example, if the time for detachment is 4 p.m., the point in time for the target is 4 p.m. After detachment, changes made to both the source and the replica can be tracked at some predefined granularity. This enables incremental resynchronization or incremental restore on the source on the target. The granularity for the data change can range from 512 bytes to 64 kilobyte blocks or higher. So that is your full volume mirroring. So here the target is a full physical copy of the source device. Target is attached to the source and the data from the source is copied to the target. Target is unavailable when it is attached. So when it is attached, the target will be unavailable to the business production or the business continuity host. Target device is as large as the source device. It is good for full backup, decision support, development, testing, as well as restore to last point in time copy. This is an example for pointer full volume mirroring in the attached mode. So this is an example for full volume mirroring in detached mode. As we can see, the source and target are detached, they are not attached. After synchronization, the target can be detached from the source and made available for business continuity operations. A point in time is determined by the time of detachment. After detachment, resynchronization can be incremental, that is, only updated blocks can be resynchronized, modified blocks are tracked using the bitmaps. So this is full volume mirroring, which is one type of storage array based local replication. Let us try to understand the source and target relationship in full volume mirroring. So this is attached where the data from the source is copied to the target. While data contained in the source or target will be the same as the data that is contained in the host. Then we have the detached mode where the data present in the source and the target will be different. And then we need to perform resynchronization to copy data from the source to the target. Right? So these are the different ways in which we can replicate the data in full volume mirroring, which is a type of host based local replication. Now let us proceed to the next type of storage array based local replication, that is pointer based volume replication, full volume replication. In pointer-based full volume replication, the target is immediately accessible by the business continuity host after the replication session is activated. Pointer-based full volume replication can be activated in either copy on first access mode or full copy mode. In either case, at the time of activation, a protection bitmap is created for all the data on the source devices. The protection bitmap keeps track of the changes at the source device. The pointers on the target are initialized to map the corresponding data blocks on the source. The data is then copied from the source to the target based on the mode of activation. In copy on first access, after the replication session is initiated, the data is copied from the source to the target only when the following condition occurs, that is, a write IO is issued to a specific address on the source for the first time, a read or write IO is issued to a specific address on the target for the first time. So in copy on first access, when a write is issued to the source for the first time after replication session activation, the original data at the address is copied to the target. After this operation, the new data is updated on the source. This ensures that the original data at the point in time of activation is preserved on the target. So in pointer based full volume replication, so it provides full copy of the source data to the target. Target is made available, accessible for business operation as soon as replication session is started. Point in time is determined by the time of session activation. There are two modes of pointer based full volume replication. We have the copy on first access and the full copy mode. The target device is at least as large as the source device. Let us first see write to source. In write to source, the first step is the production host writes new data to the source. The production host writes new data to the source. That is the first step. The original data is copied from the source to the replica. New data is updated on the source. Let us see what is that write to source. Initially, the production host writes new data to the source. The original data that is present in the source is copied to the replica. New data is then updated on the source. Let us see. So new production host writes new data to the source. The existing data from the source is copied to the replica, and then the new data is updated onto the host. So this was the existing data on the source. The blue color, yellow color indicates the new data that is updated on the host. That is writing to the source. Now let us see writing to the target. When a write is issued to the target for the first time after the replication session activation, the original data is copied from the source to the target. After this, the new data is updated on the target. There are three steps. The first step is the business continuity host, that is this host, writes new data onto the business continuity host writes new data onto the target. Original data to be is copied from the source to the replica. Then the new data is updated on the replica. Let us see what it is. Business continuity host writes some new data onto the target. The original data from the source is copied onto the target. Then the data is updated onto the target. This is writing to the target. Similarly, we have the next operation, reading to the target. When a read is issued from the target for the first time after replication session activation, the original data is copied from the source to the target and is made available to the business continuity host. Who reads this data? It is read by the business continuity host. So here again there are three steps. Read request from the business continuity host is made to the target. Original data is copied from the source to the target. Data is provided to the business continuity host. So read request is received from the business continuity host to the replica. Original data is copied from the source to the replica and data is provided to the business continuity host. So this is the different ways in which we can access and store the data in case of full volume mirroring, or in case of pointer based full volume replication of host based local replication. In all the cases, the protection bit for the data block on the source is reset to indicate that the original data has been copied over to the target. The pointer to the source can now be discarded. Subsequent writes to the same data block on the source and reads or writes to the same data blocks on the target do not trigger a copy operation. Therefore, this method is termed as copy on first access. The pointer to the source data can now be discarded. Subsequent writes to the same data block on the source and the reads or writes to the same data block on the target do not trigger a copy operation. Therefore, this is termed as copy on first access mode. If the replication session is terminated, then the target device has only the data that was accessed until the termination, not the entire contents of the source at the point in time. In this case, the data on the target cannot be used for restore because it is not a full replica of the source. Now let us see the full copy mode of pointer based full volume replication. In full copy mode, all data from the source is copied to the target in the background. Data is copied regardless of the access. If the access to a block that has not yet been copied to the target is required, this block is preferentially copied to the target. In a complete cycle of the full copy mode, all data from the source is copied to the target. If the replication session is terminated now, the target contains all the original data from the source at the point in time of activation. This makes the target a viable copy for restore or other business continuity operations. The key difference between pointer based full copy mode and full volume mirroring is that the target is immediately accessible upon replication session activation in the full copy mode. So both the full volume mirroring and pointer based full volume replication technologies require that the target devices to be at least as large as the source devices. The full volume mirroring and pointer based full volume replication is in the full copy mode can provide incremental resynchronization and restore capabilities. So in full copy mode of pointer based full volume replication, so on the session start, the entire contents of the source device is copied to the target device in the background. If the replication session is terminated, the target will contain all the original data from the source at the point in time of activation. Target can be used to restore and recovery. In copy on first access mode, the target will have only the data that was accessed until the termination, and therefore it cannot be used for restore and recovery. Most vendor implementation provide the ability to track changes made to the source or the target. It enables incremental resynchronization. Now let us proceed to the next type of host based storage replication, that is pointer based virtual replication. In pointer based virtual replication, at the time of the replication session activation, the target contains pointers to the location of the data on the source. The target does not contain the data at any time. Therefore, the target are known as virtual replicas. Here the target or the replica does not contain the actual data, but rather contains the pointers to the data that is stored at some other location. Similar to pointer based full volume replication, the target is immediately accessible after the replication session activation. A protection bitmap is created for all the data blocks on the source device. Granularity of data blocks can range from 512 bytes blocks to 64 kilobyte blocks of data or greater. Pointer based virtual replication uses copy on first write technology. When the write is issued to the source for the first time after the replication session activation, the original data at that address is copied to a predefined area in the array. This is generally known as the save location. The pointer in the target is updated to point to this data in the save location. After this, the new write is updated on the source. Okay, so that is your pointer based virtual replication. Here the targets do not hold the actual data, but holds only pointers to where the data is located. Therefore, the target requires a fraction of data or the fraction of the size of the source volumes. A replication session is set up between the source and the target devices. Target devices are accessible immediately when the session is started. At the start of the session, the target device holds pointers to data on the source device, typically recommended if the changes to the source are less than 30%. So let us look at an example here. Here we have three steps. We have a source, we have a virtual target device, and remember we have a separate store save location, which is something different from whatever technologies we have discussed till now. Here the target just contains the pointers to the save location. There are three steps here. The first step is the production host writes new data to the source for the first time after session activation. As a second step, the original data from the source is copied to the save location and an associated pointer is now pointing to the save location. The third step, new data is updated onto the source. Let us see that. So the production host writes some new data onto the source. The original data from the source is copied to the save location directly, and a pointer is associated the pointer that is associated with the save location is created on the target device, and then new data is updated onto the source, and this happens continuously. You can observe that the target device, virtual target device, contains only the pointers to the data that is stored in the saved location. So when a write is issued to the target for the first time after the session activation, the data is copied from the source to the save location and the pointer is updated to the data in the new save location. After the copy of the original data is created in the save location for the new write, before the new write is updated on the save location. So another copy of the original data is created on the save location before new write is updated on the save location. Subsequent writes to the same data block on the source or target do not trigger a copy operation. So that is what is illustrated in this particular diagram. So when reads are issued to the target, unchanged data blocks since the session activation are read from the source, whereas the data blocks that have changed are read from the save location. Data on the target is combined with the view of unchanged data on the source and data to the save location, data on the save location. Unavailability of the source device invalidates the data on the target. The target contains only pointers to the data, and therefore the physical capacity required for the target is a fraction of the source device. The capacity required for the save location depends on the amount of expected data change. So that is our pointer based virtual replication. This is one more type of host based one more type of storage array based full local replication. Till now we just discussed host based replication, where we discussed two types: LVM based replication, based replication, and file system snapshot. In storage array based local replication, we discussed three types, that is full volume mirroring, pointer based replication, pointer based full volume replication, and now we just discussed pointer based virtual replication. Let us now move on to the third type of local replication, that is called as the network based local replication. In network based replication, the replication occurs at the network layer between the host and the storage arrays. It does not happen on the store, neither on the source, or neither on the storage arrays, but it happens at the network layer between the host and the storage arrays. Network based replication combines the benefits of array based and host based replication. By offloading the replication from the servers and the arrays, the network based replication can work across a large number of server platforms and storage arrays, making it ideal for heterogeneous environments. Continuous data protection is a technology that is used for network based local and remote replication. So network based replication, the replication occurs at a network layer between the host and the storage array. Network-based replication combines the benefits of array-based and host-based replications. By offloading the replication from servers and arrays, network-based replication can work across a large number of server platforms and storage arrays, making it ideal for highly heterogeneous environments. Continuous data protection is a technology, we call it as CDP. It's a technology that is used for network-based local and remote replication. Let us see what is this continuous data protection or CDP. In CDP, data changes are continuously captured and stored in separate location from the primary storage. Moreover, the recovery point objectives are random and do not need to be defined in advance. With CDP, recovery from data corruption poses no problem because it allows going back to a point in time image prior to the data corruption incident. Continuous data protection uses the journal volume to store all data changes on the primary storage. The journal volume contains all the data that has changed from the time the replication session has started. CDP, the amount of space that is configured for the journal determines how far back the recovery points can go. CDP is typically implemented using CDP appliance and write splitters. CDP implementation may also be host based, in which CDP software is installed on separate host machine. CDP appliance is an intelligent hardware platform that runs CDP software and manages local and remote data replication. Write splitters intercepts writes to the production volumes from the host and split each write into two copies. Write splitting can also be performed at the host, fabric or storage array. So let us first see what is this continuous data replication. We just discussed that now. So in CDP, data changes are continuously captured and stored in separate location from the primary storage. So moreover, the recovery point objectives are random and do not need to be defined in advance. With continuous data protection, recovery from the data corruption poses no problem because it allows going back to the point in time image prior to the data corruption incident. Continuous data protection uses the journal volume to store all data changes on the primary storage. The storage volume contains all the data that has changed from the time the replication session has started. The amount of space that is configured for the journal determines how far the recovery points can go. Continuous data protection is typically implemented using the CDP appliance and the write splitters. CDP implementation may also be host based, in which CDP software is installed on a separate host machine. CDP appliance is an intelligent hardware platform that runs the CDP software and manages local and remote data replications. Write splitters intercept writes to the production volume from the host and split each write into two copies. Write splitting can be performed at the host or at the fabric or at the storage array. Now let us see how can we perform network based CDP local replication. As we have in this diagram, we have a write splitter, we have the host which is having a write splitter, we are having a CDP appliance at the network layer, we have a CDP journal and the production volume, the host and the replica. So in this method of local replication, that is CDP based local replication, before the start of the replication, so before the start of the replication here, the replica is synchronized with the source and then replication process starts. So initially the replica is synchronized with the source and then the replication process starts. After the replication starts, all writes to the source are split into two copies. One of the copy is sent to the CDP appliance and the other is sent to the production volume. When the CDP appliance receives a copy of a write, it is returned to the journal volume along with its timestamp. As a next step, data from the journal volume is sent to the replica at predefined intervals. While recovering the data to the source, the CDP appliance restores the data from the replica and applies journal entries up to the point in time chosen for recovery. Right? So in this method, before the start of the replication, the replica is synchronized with the source and then the replication process starts. After the replication starts, all the writes to the source are split into two copies. One of the copies is sent to the CDP appliance and the other copy is sent to the production volume. When the CDP appliance receives a copy of a write, it is written to the journal volume along with its timestamp. As the next step, data from the journal volume is sent to the replica at predefined intervals. While recovering the data to the source, CDP appliance restores the data from the replica and applies journal entries up to the point in time chosen for recovery. So that is our CDP based local replication. That is one type of network based local replication. Okay, now let us try to understand what do we mean by local replication in a virtualized environment. In the virtual environment, along with the replicating storage volumes, virtual machine replication is also required. Local replication of virtual machines is generally performed by the hypervisor at the compute level. However, it can also be performed at the storage level using array based local replication similar to the physical environment. In the array based method, the LUN on which the virtual machines reside is replicated to another LUN in the same array. For hypervisor based local replication, two options are available, that is, we have the virtual machine snapshot and the virtual machine clone. So in virtualized environment, along with replicating the storage volumes, we have virtual machine replication also that can also be performed. Local replication of virtual machines is generally performed at the hypervisor. It's performed by the hypervisor at the compute level. However, it can also be performed at the storage level using array based local replication similar to the physical environment. In the array based method, the local or the LUN on which the virtual machines reside is replicated to another LUN in the same array. For hypervisor based local replication, two options are available, that is virtual machine snapshots and virtual machine clone. Now let us look at these virtual machine snapshot and virtual machine clone in detail. Let us first try to understand what is this virtual machine snapshot. Virtual machine snapshot captures the state and the data of running virtual machine at specific points in time. So the virtual machine snapshot captures the state and the data of running virtual machine at specific point in time. The virtual machine state includes the virtual machine files such as the BIOS, the network configuration and its power state, that is whether it is powered on, whether it's powered off or whether it is suspended. The virtual machine state includes the virtual machine files which includes the BIOS, the network configuration and the power state. The virtual machine data in the virtual machine snapshot includes all the files that make up the virtual machine, including the virtual disks and the memory. So in virtual machine snapshots, it uses a separate delta file to record all the changes to the virtual disk since the snapshot session is activated. Snapshots are useful when a virtual machine needs to be reverted to the previous state in the event of logical corruptions. Reverting a virtual machine to a previous state in virtual machine snapshot causes all settings configured in the guest OS to be reverted to that point in time when the snapshot was created. The virtual machine snapshot technology does not support data replication if a virtual machine accesses the data by using raw disks. Also, using hypervisor to perform snapshots increases the load on the compute and impacts the compute performance. So that was your virtual machine snapshots. So in virtual machine snapshots, data and the it captures the state and the data of the running. It captures the state and the data of the running virtual machine at specific point in time. The virtual machine data includes the files that make up the virtual machine, including the virtual disks and the memory. A virtual machine snapshot uses a separate delta file to record all the changes to the virtual disk since the snapshot is activated. Snapshots are useful when a virtual machine needs to be reverted to the previous state in the event of logical corruptions. Reverting a virtual machine to a previous state in virtual machine snapshot causes all the settings configured in the guest OS to be reverted to that point in time when that snapshot was created. The virtual machine snapshot technology does not support data replication if the machine accesses the data by using raw disks. Also, using hypervisor to perform the snapshots in virtual machine snapshot increases the load on the compute, that is the host CPU, and impacts the compute performance. That is your virtual machine snapshot. Now let us briefly go through what do you mean by the virtual machine clone. Virtual machine clone is another method that creates an identical copy of the virtual machine. When the cloning operation is complete, the clone becomes a separate virtual machine from its parent virtual machine. The clone has its own MAC address, and changes made to the clone do not affect the parent virtual machine. Similarly, changes made to the parent virtual machine do not affect the clone. The virtual machine clone is a useful method when there is a need to deploy identical virtual machines. Installing guest OS and applications on multiple virtual machines is a time-consuming task. Virtual machine clone helps to simplify this process. So in virtual machine clone, it creates an identical copy of the virtual machine. When the cloning operation is complete, the clone becomes a separate virtual machine that is separate from its parent virtual machine. The clone has its own MAC address, and the changes made to the clone do not affect the parent virtual machine. Similarly, changes made to the parent virtual machine do not appear in the clone. Virtual machine is a useful method, or virtual machine clone is a useful method when there is a need to deploy many identical virtual machines. Installing guest OS and applications on multiple virtual machines is a time-consuming task. Virtual machine clone helps to simplify this particular process. That is your virtual machine clone. So with that, this chapter is complete. The chapter title is local replication. In this video session, we discussed what do we mean by replication, the different types of replication. Then we saw what do you mean by local replication. So then we discussed the different replication terminologies. We understood what is the source, what is the target, what do you mean by point-in-time copy, what do you mean by continuous replica. We also understood what do you mean by recoverability and restartability. And after that, we discussed the uses of local replicas. The uses of local replica that we discussed was it acts as an alternate copy for backup. It's used for faster recovery. It's used for decision support activities such as reporting. It's used as a testing platform as well as the data migration. And after that, we discussed in detail the different local replication technologies. Local replication technologies can be broadly classified into three types: host-based storage replication, host-based local replication, storage array-based local replication, and network-based local replication. So in host-based replication, we discussed two types. We discussed LVM-based local replication and file system snapshot. Then we moved on to storage array-based replication. We discussed three types here. So in storage array-based local replication, we discussed full volume mirroring, pointer-based full volume replication, and pointer-based virtual replication. Then we discussed what do you mean by network-based local replication. Then we discussed what do you mean by continuous data protection, and then we discussed in detail what do we mean by continuous data protection local replication operation. And then we discussed local replication in virtual environments. So there we discussed two options that are available: file system, virtual machine snapshot, and virtual machine clone. With this, let us conclude this video lecture session. Thank you.